Good morning to all of you. Welcome to Storytime. I'm Zafi and I'm a teacher of English. I have been teaching English for very long and I just love my job. I love my students. And one other thing I love is stories. And in fact, I've been using stories in my classroom for a number of reasons. But the most important is the connection it gives me with my students. A story can connect you with anybody. You see, stories are the food of our mind and heart. We should not only be feeding our body, we also need to give food to our mind. Now, today's story is called This Too Will Pass. Are you ready? Yes? Yes, yes? Okay. So once upon a time, in a far, far land, in an eastern country, lived this king who was so good, so kind, that all his subjects wanted to come and work for him willingly. In fact, he was such a successful king that everybody in his kingdom was happy, satisfied. His wife, his children, his servants, his soldiers, his generals, his advisors, the whole population were so happy, nothing seemed to trouble them. And in fact, they smiled a lot, and some even hurt from smiling from ear to ear. Now the king thought, that's good, but it's not very normal. What if something happened? I mean, what if they lost their property and they lost peace and something really bad happened, and the people, how would they be able to find balance in their life if they're only used to being happy? There must be a device, there must be a way to bring balance to everybody. And at that point, he didn't know what that would be. And he thought, couldn't find anything, but the next day he called his wise man and he said, my dear wise man, I need you to do something for me. I have decided, and I don't know how or why, but you are going to make a ring for me that I'm going to wear in my middle finger. And this ring will have a special ability. This ring is going to bring balance to me. If I'm overexcited and thrilled and happy, it's going to bring me down. And if I am worried, concerned, troubled, again, it's going to bring peace and tranquility in my life. And that will come to my kingdom as well. Now the wise men looked at each other because they didn't know how to do this. They hadn't thought of that before, and they went, Your Majesty, we couldn't possibly do it. And the king looked at them, and of course they understood that the king wanted them to think about it, and off they went. And they got together and they started thinking and they started reading and they started discussing, even arguing and experimenting and trying different ways. And they came to a sort of idea of what they wanted to do, but because they were not so sure, they went back to the palace, and the head, the oldest wise man, spoke to the king and said, Your Majesty, we think we have come to a solution, but because we're not sure, we would like your approval. And the king said, no, you don't need my approval. I am fully aware that I can trust you. I can trust you. You can go. And so off they went again, the wise men, and they started working on that idea of theirs. And a day went by, and 2 days, and 3 days, and 4 days, and on the 6th day, the king received the visitors. And again, the wise man came in front of the king, and the head wise man handed him a ring. And he said, "Your Majesty, this is for you." And the king took it and looked at it. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. But inside it, there was a message. And he looked at it. And he looked at it hard. And soon his expression began to change. And he was not calm anymore. He was a bit worried. He was concerned. He was even anxious. And he looked at his wise man again. And the wise man said, "Your Majesty, look at the message again. Read it carefully. Think about it." So the king again looked at the message. And after a while, there was this peaceful expression in his face. And he seemed calm. And he seemed satisfied. And he was not worried anymore. He was more composed. And he said, "Yes, yes, yes." And he looked at the wise men who were all expecting his answer. Was he happy with it? And he said, "Yes, you did it. This ring has got a special quality. It has the power to change my mind, my mood. When I am overexcited, it just brings me down. It calms me down. And when I'm sad, when I'm concerned, and when I'm worried, it brings me back to calmness. And I can think clearly. And there is balance. You see, this ring is powerful. It brings balance in me and stability to my nation." And he put it on, and everybody was very happy. But the question now is, what was the message in that ring? You see, if we were in our classroom, I would love to hear your opinions, and you would all come with different opinions. And this is because we all receive the stories differently. We all see a little part of ourselves in the story. But now, I'm just going to tell you what it says. And it said, "This too will pass." 4 words. This too will pass. And you know what? We need to remember this. When I was young, I was stressed, anxious, worried with every little thing. And that took away, of course, my happy moments. But now, as I'm aging, I know that I'm happier, I'm calmer. I don't stress that much because life has taught me exactly what that ring said. This too will pass. Just be calm. And you know what? In our situation, with our coronavirus situation, this too will pass. I hope I'll see you soon and take another voyage, another trip with another story. Bye-bye.